Blog Talk Radio.
That's going to be the belief system. Yourself. That's the new age movement.
government of this earth, that all of them are in league and are in bed with Satan. That's the truth. Not one of them are with the Most High. Why? Because this kingdom was given into the hand of Satan. Job 9 and 24 tells you the earth was given into the hand of the wicked. So in order for you to rule in this government, you must go to Satan to get your power. He tried to offer it to Christ. Christ denied it. But who took it? All the governments in this earth who will soon pay. They live lavishly in this earth off the bones, blood, sweat, and tears of the children of Israel. Yes, but now they have to pay. It's time. All these wars in the earth are culminating. They're leading to their own demise. And where this is the people with no weapons. This is our weapon. The only thing we have is this, Christ, in the name of the Most High, and we'll win.
And it's the music of the Gathering of Christ. You can find them at gatheringofchrist.info, I believe. And good evening, good afternoon, good morning to you and yours wherever you are on the World Wide Web. You are listening to Let's Talk, brought to you by the Men Empowered Organization on the Blog Talk Radio Network at blogtalkradio.com. My name is Maurice Aaron, and I am your host for a November the 22nd, 2011. And it is a Tuesday, and we are going to be presenting to you the very best of the Gathering of Christ Church right here on the Men Empowered Radio Show. So if you'd like to join in on our conversation while we are live, the phone number to call is 347-205-9279. Or you can chat with us right there in the chat room at Blog Talk Radio. So after our teaching, which is probably going to be about 30 minutes, we will go ahead and open up the phone lines for questions as well as comments. And before we get started, I want to remind you, our office here at the Men Empowered Organization is area code 504-484-9388, as well as our email address is menempoweredtoprosper@yahoo.com. And we are on myspace.com, as well as Men Empowered is at twitter.com. And yours truly, Maurice Herron, is on facebook.com. Tonight, we are going to get into it with the Gathering of Christ Church. We are going to talk about the origin of idolatry and what is idolatry. So this was taken from a teaching that they did previously, and I'd like for you all to know that I am enrolled in the Gathering of Christ Church Hebrew Bible Academy. We are in our third month, and I tell you, I've been learning a lot. So it's all good, and I'm already ready, pumped, and ready to go when we get through with this academy. Everything that we have learned at this particular academy with the Gathering of Christ, you all will hear it right here on the Let's Talk show. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead into the lesson, the origin of idolatry, and we will present to you the Gathering of Christ Church.
Going into the lesson, because y'all missed this lesson and I thought we should share in it a little bit. What is the importance of this world's connection with idols? Now, when I talk about idols, you notice in the Catholic Church they have all these different symbols. They have a statue of Mary, or what they call Mary, which we know is nothing different than Diana, and the worship of Venus, and the child, which is a representation of Jupiter. or the Yule child of Tammuz of ancient Babylon. But with every worship and prayer comes some physical substance like an idol. You notice even in your Catholic Church they have what you would call rosary beads, something like that, right? They call it rosary beads. Mm-hmm. In it, you know, it's a compilations of different stones, usually, linked into a cross. Why do people reverence substance and have a worship linked to physical things like wood and stone and metal? We found out, according to the scriptures and according to this world, why. I'm going to give you all some understanding. I don't want to let the full cat out of the bag, because a lot of the information we'll be teaching in the academy. So I don't want to bring it all out, because we want to make sure we ration it out and give you the information as we can receive it. But in a nutshell, it's pretty deep, the reason they have these idols attached to every religion. In Islam, you have the rock or the Kaaba. In the Middle East, you have all types of different idols. In ancient Babylon, you had idols. The Roman Catholic Church is filled with idols. You go into your church, and there's symbolism and idols every place. And there was an origin of idols. So let's go to the book of Enoch. We're going into the book of Enoch, and then I'll take you into the Bible and the Apocrypha to show you why the nations deal with idols. What's significant, and why people cannot physically let their superstition and their idols go. And don't forget, Abraham himself, his father Terah was an idolater. Alright? So I'm going to show you, according to scripture, why people hold dear to substance. See, it tells us in the commandments, Exodus 20, that thou shalt not have no other God before the Most High. And he explicitly told his people not to make unto them anything that's in the heaven above or the earth beneath. There was a reason for that. What was the spiritual implication of that? Why did the Most High want Israel to stay away from those practices? We'll show you. Why is it that when it comes to substance, be it your ring, or your earrings, or your jewelry, why do you call it precious? Why do you hold dear to these things as if they have life, and value material more than life itself? What is your spiritual connection to these things? I'm going to say this. Who is over your jewelry? What people is actually bringing jewelry to you? Why do they promote jewelry? Why this time of year, especially during the time of Christmas? Everything you see is about adoring jewelry. Jewelry itself, Jewry, links directly to the Jewish wizards. Back in old time, there was people who knew how to track spirits in material. They would track a genie, or what you would call in the Middle East a jinn. But they needed physical substance to do it. So you need something. You need earthy clay. You need something that's made of the Most High substance to hold these spirits with different incantations. This practice has been known through the Illuminati powers. That's why they deal with their symbolisms and they built their statues. This practice goes back to ancient Babylon, how to control spirits. And these Jewish powers are not just cutting diamonds. What they're doing, they're praying spirits in a lot of these materials and selling them to you. And you're making unto yourselves idols. But they promote it innocently. It's an innocent promotion, but really you're being controlled by a spirit. There's nothing more precious than the Most High's creation, than what He created, man. So, when the Most High said, do not make unto thee any graven image, He understood that these spirits would be prayed into these idols, and that people will reverence and hold dear other gods in substance opposed to Him as the God of all gods. Alright? Now, I'm going into the origin of spirits. When did this thing come on the scene of demons in the earth? When did this happen? It happened before the flood. Go to Genesis, the 6th chapter. Genesis 6, and get the book of Jude 1 and 6 and 1 and 13. And get 2 Peter 2 and 4. And also get Job, the 1st chapter, the 6th verse. We wrestle not with flesh and blood. These Jewish powers are sorcerers. This is what you didn't know. The Jewish powers are over the Illuminati. Their secret credo, like I've mentioned the other day in class, their secret credo is to continue their father Esau's oath he made in Genesis. Once his father died, he would destroy his brother Jacob. That's the secret oath. And that's what they're teaching with the genocide program. The only difference is it's a war being waged against Israel, and Israel don't know who they are. Therefore, they don't know that they're being warred against. So we need to get the origin of this. These people that are over the world, over the bank system, over your thought, over your education, over your religion, that own your banks, these people are sorcerers. You notice their movies, they push sorcery big time. Gandalf, Lords of the Rings, Harry Potter, these wizards. They have many wizards. I know a lot of you think that this war against Iraq and Iran, some of you think that these wars are just physical wars with armies, but no. You must first take the spirit and control the spirit of a territory. And they know this before you can take the land. Before they went into Iraq, America sent an army into the palace of Saddam Hussein and found genie bottles. As far as the eye can see in his palace, in one room was nothing but genie bottles or gin bottles. Bottles that held spirits that gave Saddam Hussein power. They had to take his spirits to control the region. We're not wrestling with flesh and blood. Before the Jewish powers took Israel, where were the hierarchy or the spiritual rabbis and sorcerers? They were in ancient Babylon. They were in Iraq, learning ancient witchcraft practices in 1948 before they flooded Israel with Europeans. Do your research. They've cast a spell on the world. They have cast a spell. Why? Through manipulation, education, through programming, they were able to hide and reflect and deflect the blame. This is what they did. Some people don't even know that Christopher Columbus wasn't from Spain. You relate the fall of black people or slavery, most of us relate that to Christian Europeans that came over to the New World. That couldn't be further from the truth. Christopher Columbus was only in Spain 5 years. Christopher Columbus was Jewish. George Washington, Jewish. Benjamin Franklin, Jewish. So this one world order that we're talking about, none of the founding fathers were Christians. They were all esoteric, demon worshiping Jewish sorcerers. But through Hollywood, now Hollywood is an interesting word because that's the wood the Druids used in Europe to make magic wands and cast spells on people. So through Hollywood, they made you believe what they wanted you to believe while they control the earth through sorcery and witchcraft. All right? So, how did they get their power? What is the origin of the spirits that they are in league with right now? Let's go into it. We have to go into the beginning. Go to Genesis 6:1. Read.
Genesis chapter 6 verse 1. And it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth.
When men began to multiply on the face of the earth, read.
And daughters were born unto them.
These are people having daughters. Go ahead.
That the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose.
So they went and took them wives and did what?
And the Lord said, My spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he is also flesh. Yet his days shall be 120 years.
Go ahead.
There were giants in the earth in those days.
There were giants in the earth in those days. Giants is Nephilim. There was Nephilim. Where did the Nephilim come from? The Nephilim came from the mixture of the daughters of men with angels, who are called in this chapter the sons of God. Read.
And also after that.
And also after that. It happened after the flood. Read.
When the sons of God came into the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown. Men of renown,
giants, titans. They were like gods on earth. This is the origin of your gods. This is your Greek mythology. There's a movie out called Clash of the Titans. I can show you in the Bible that a judgment was given on their children, that they would fight and kill themselves off through a war. That's your Clash of the Titans. All these animals that you see in these movies were real. Before the flood, the Most High flooded the earth because of the splicing of animals. Because if he didn't stop these new hybrid beings, men would be consumed. People would be consumed. And these same sorcerers that are in the earth today are trying to use legislation and technology to do today like they did during the days of Noah. The mixture of people, DNA, making alternative animals. They're doing the same thing today to kill off the Most High's creation. How do we know that these sons of God in Genesis 6 are angels? Let's read the book of Job 1 and start at the 6th verse.
Job chapter 1 verse 6. Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Most High.
Go ahead.
And Satan came also among them.
And Satan came also among them. Go ahead.
And the Lord said unto Satan, Whence comest thou?
Where are you coming from? Go
then
ahead.
Satan answered the Most High and said, From going to and fro in the earth?
I was just in the earth to show you every sundown the angels report to the Most High. And at that time, Satan, the fallen angel Lucifer, who turned Satan, was able to go before the throne and report to the Most High. So the sons of God are angels. Okay? That's in the spiritual plane. We're the sons of God on the terrestrial plane. The sons of God you read of in Genesis 6 are what they would call extraterrestrial, coming down to deal with the terrestrial. Okay? Now, go to 1 Peter 2 and 4. 2 Peter 2 and 4. Read it.
2 Peter chapter 2 verse 4. For if the Most High spared not the angels that sinned,
if the Most High spared not the angels that sinned, what was their sin? Their sin was coming down to the earth, posing as some of these women's husbands too. It'll tell you that in the book of Jubilees. And sleeping with women and bearing children. Read.
for if the Most High spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down to hell.
But cast them down to hell, we know that they are in hell. The angels that did this are bound. Go ahead.
And delivered them into chains of darkness.
And he delivered them into chains of darkness. Go ahead.
To be reserved unto judgment.
To be reserved unto judgment. So the angels that did this are the fathers of demons. And I'm going to prove that. They are the fathers of demons. Go to the book of Jude, the first chapter and the 6th verse.
Jude, chapter 1, verse 6.
Read it.
And the angels, which kept not their first estate.
The angels which kept not their first estate was the heavens. That's where they lived. Estate is habitation. Read.
But left their own habitation.
Go ahead.
He hath reserved in everlasting chains.
Now they're in everlasting chains until judgment. Read.
Under darkness unto the judgment of the great day.
Until the judgment of the great day. Until after the 1,000-year reign of Christ. Then they'll be judged. That's why it tells you in the book of Corinthians, know ye not that ye shall judge angels? What angels? At the very end, the elect will judge the fallen angels that are still fallen unto this day. Like Enoch judged the fallen angels before the flood. Read 13.
Verse 13.
Go ahead.
Raging waves of the sea, foaming out of their own shame. Wandering stars.
They are what?
Wandering stars.
They were wandering stars. So these angels were stars. And that's why you have in your worships, in your Greek mythology, you have your involuntarily worshiping of planets and angels. It's worshiping of the stars. These are wandering stars. Read.
To whom is reserved the blackness of darkness forever.
Whom is reserved the blackness of darkness forever. You notice when someone becomes rich and famous in our society, they are called stars. So some people might ask, well, what do being a good singer or a good act like Denzel Washington or being a popular person, what does it have to do with you being a star? A lot of people don't know that rabbis over synagogues are gatekeepers. What they do, they get riches and power by presenting souls. So when you go when you go into the music business or into entertainment, who's over them? Jewish powers. So if you got a certain talent, they'll take you to a rabbi, you sell your soul, and you get a star that's over you that can help you win in this society. That can help you get anything you need while you're in the earth. But it requires sacrifice in your soul. The rabbis get paid for this. They are gatekeepers. That's what your Jewish rabbis are. They look for the talent, they make an agreement with the talent, and then they bring people behind closed doors. That's your illuminous agreement you have with your LeBron James and all your different stars. Every one have a Jewish connection. Every last one. And who do the Jews reverence? Their sorcerer. Who is their sorcerer? Their rabbi. Where does the rabbi get their research and their teachings? Ancient Babylon. But I don't want to go too far off track, but I want you to see the significance of how everything ties in. It all ties into the involuntary worshiping of demons. And demons cannot work without an established people pushing their program. And it all links together. Idolatry, sorcery, witchcraft, the destruction of God's people. Finish reading.
Verse 14. And Enoch also, the seventh from Adam, prophesied of these.
And Enoch spoke of these. Go ahead.
Saying, Behold, the Most High cometh with 10,000s of his saints.
Say that again.
Behold, the Most High cometh with 10,000s of his saints.
The Most High come with 10,000 of his saints. Now notice that it says Enoch prophesied of these things, to show you that Jude was reading Enoch. So why is it that we cannot read this passage Jude is quoting in the Bible? Why? Because if you find the information, you will actually expose the spirits that the Catholic Church is worshiping. So they don't want you to know that this happened, because you would be able to identify them as Satan worshipers, idolaters. So they could not give you the information of Enoch. Why? Because they worship in the fallen angels. So they taught in their theologian schools, no, there was no fallen angels. This in Genesis, those are the sons of Cain, or the sons of Seth, sleeping with the daughters of Cain. Lie. They are hiding the gods they are worshiping. Why? Because if they fear that if this information get out, the people will stop worshiping their gods. Your worship give their gods power. Your worships and prayers to their gods, even in ignorance, fuel this empire. So when we bring our prayers back to the Father, their empire dwindles, it falls. Read it again.
Verse 14. And Enoch also, the seventh from Adam, prophesied of these.
So what did Enoch prophesy?
Saying, Behold, the Most High cometh with 10,000s of his saints.
The Most High cometh with 10,000 of his saints. Read.
To execute judgment upon all.
To execute judgment upon all. Go ahead.
And to convince all that are ungodly among them of all their ungodly deeds, which they have ungodly committed, in all their hard speeches, which ungodly sinners have spoken against him.
Now I need you to read that same passage in the book of Enoch. The book of Enoch, the first chapter, 1 and 9. Read it.
Enoch, chapter 1, verse 9.
Read it.
And behold, he cometh with 10,000 of his holy ones.
He cometh with 10,000 of his holy ones, 10,000 of his saints, the same as we see in the book of Jude. Read.
To execute judgment upon all.
To execute judgment upon all. This is what Jude was reading. Go ahead.
And to destroy all the ungodly, and to convict all flesh of all the works of their ungodliness.
Go ahead.
Which they have ungodly committed, and of all the hard things which ungodly sinners have spoken against him.
That's the same we see in the book of Jude. Alright, so this is what Jude was reading from. Okay? With the book of Enoch, you understand the course of years. You understand future judgment. Enoch was showed everything. And he was used to judge the angels that came down to sleep with women. And at this time, he was king and priest. He was so righteous, the Most High took him. He was translated into the heavens. But yet, there's no reading material on him in the Bible. Why? The Catholic Church want to hide the gods they are worshiping. Let's go to the book of Enoch, the 6th chapter. Start at the first verse. Read it.
Enoch, chapter 6, verse 1. And it came to pass when the children of men had multiplied that in those days were born unto them beautiful and comely daughters.
Read it again.
And it came to pass when the children of men had multiplied that in those days were born unto them beautiful and comely daughters.
It was born unto them beautiful and comely daughters. Read.
And the angels, the children of the heaven.
And the angels, the children of the heaven, to show you they're the Most High sons also. Read.
Saw and lusted after them.
They looked down and lusted after the women. See, and that's why it tells us in the book of Corinthians, the 11th chapter, that a woman should keep her head covered because of the angel. Why? Because the angels were enticed before the flood and sin came into the earth. Same exact thing. We're in the book of Enoch 6 and 1. Read.
And the angels, the children of the heaven, saw and lusted after them, and said to one another, Come, let us choose us wives from among the children of men.
Let us choose us wives from among the children of men. Read.
And beget us children.
And let's make children. Read.
And Sanjaza, who was their leader, said unto them, I fear ye will not indeed agree to do this deed, and I alone shall have to pay the penalty of a great sin. And they all answered him and said, Let us all swear an oath, and all bind ourselves by mutual imprecation.
So these angels made an oath. Read.
Not to abandon this plan, but to do this thing.
Go ahead.
Then swear all they together, and bound themselves by mutual imprecations upon it.
So they agreed. Go ahead.
And they were in all 200, who descended in those days of Jared on the summit of Mount Hermon.
So you had 200 angels come down on the summit of Mount Hermon, whom in Greek mythology it's called Mount Olympus. You notice in your movies, Paramount, you have stars coming down through the sky, down around a mountain on your Hollywood screens, to show you the angels or the stars that are being worshipped through Hollywood. These are the stars that the Jewish powers are worshiping, or the gods they're worshiping. Now, they bear Nephilim. It's going to show you. Read.
Who ascended in the days of Jared on the summit of Mount Hermon.
Go ahead.
And they called it Mount Hermon.
And they called it Mount Hermon. Go ahead.
Because they had sworn and bound themselves by mutual imprecations upon it.
Go ahead.
And these are the names of their leaders.
I don't even want to go into their leaders. Let's go into the children they had. Let's go down to when the Most High called Enoch up to the throne, after he was translated. Now this is how it was. Enoch at one point used to come out every day and teach. And then he started coming out once a week. Then once a month. After that, once a year. Then he was then once every 5 years, and they barely seen him. And then he was gone altogether. He was translated before the Father. Alright? Let's get the judgment of the fallen angels. Let's start at 12 and 1.
Enoch, chapter 12, verse 1. Before these things Enoch was hidden, and no one of the children of men knew where he was hidden.
So they looked up and they didn't know where he was. Talking about Enoch. It tell you in the Bible that Enoch was translated. He was taken. He didn't die. The Most High took him into the heavens for this specific purpose. Read.
And no one of the children of men knew where he was hidden, and where he abode, and what had become of him. And his activities had to do with the watchers.
And his activities had to do with the watchers. Who are your watchers? Your watchers are the angels that were supposed to watch men and report back to the Most High. And you notice they have satellites, the same number of satellites around the earth today, which are called digital angels. These fallen angels, their children, have given technology to man to actually put watchers back out in space through electronics, to do the same courses they did around the earth before they fell. Digital angels are satellites. Read.
And his activities had to do with the watchers.
And his activity had to do with the watchers. Go ahead.
And his days were with the holy ones.
And his days were with the holy ones. He was up where the Father is with the heavenly realm, with the angels. Go ahead.
And I, Enoch, was blessing the Most High of Majesty, and the King of the ages. And lo, the watchers called me, Enoch the scribe, and said to me, Enoch, thou scribe of righteousness, go declare to the watchers of the heaven who have left the high heaven, the holy eternal place.
So he said, I need you to go and declare to these angels. Read.
And have defiled themselves with women.
Now mind you, when Enoch went to speak to them, they have already defiled the earth. The blood of men was crying out to the Most High. The angels heard it. So the Most High said, listen, go get Enoch. Enoch was translated, and now the Most High is telling Enoch what he's to do, based on this sin in the earth that will eventually destroy mankind. Read.
And have done as the children of earth do, and have taken unto themselves wives.
They took unto themselves wives. Go ahead.
Ye have brought great destruction on the earth, and ye shall have no peace, nor forgiveness of sin. And inasmuch as they delight themselves in their children, The murder of their beloved ones shall they see, and over the destruction of their children shall they lament, and shall make supplication unto eternity. But mercy and peace ye shall not attain. And Enoch went out and said, Azazel, thou shalt have no peace.
He told Azazel, thou shalt have no peace. Read.
A severe sentence has gone forth against thee to put thee in bonds, and thou shalt not have toleration, nor request granted to thee, because of the unrighteousness which thou hast taught,
Go ahead.
and because of all the works of godlessness and unrighteousness and sin which thou hast shown to men.
Go ahead.
Then I went and spoke to them all together, and they were all afraid, and fear and trembling seized them. And they besought me to draw up a petition for them, that they might find forgiveness.
So they wanted Enoch to go plead the cause for them before the Most High, asking the Most High to forgive them and allow them entrance back into the heavenly realm. Read.
And they besought me to draw up a petition for them, that they might find forgiveness, and to read their petition in the presence of the Lord of heaven.
Go ahead.
And from thenceforward they could not speak with him, nor lift up their eyes to the heaven for shame of their sins, for they had been condemned. Then I wrote out their petition in prayer in regard to their spirits and their deeds individually.
I need you to go straight to the judgment before the Most High.
Okay, we've just finished up part 2 of the Gathering of Christ Church, speaking on the origin of idolatry. And we will go ahead and continue with part 3 and 4 on next week. But what we've got and grasped for tonight, I want us to go ahead and just kind of dilate that a little bit. I've got some scriptures here, and I want to kind of elaborate on that just a little bit. But we are going to take a quick music break for about 3 minutes. If you have any questions or comments that you are thinking about, I am going to open up the lines after our music break. For those of you all who are in the chat room, you can go ahead and type your questions or comments in. We've got about 47 minutes left, so we're going to come back right after this music break, and we are going to dilate what we have discussed from the Gathering of Christ Church in just a few minutes. Here's Richard Shepard talking about TikTok.
I'm waiting in the shadow. It's you I follow. It could be tonight when it's all aligned. You were mine. I'm waiting for the word go. I'm waiting at the front door. So be prepared when your number's called. I'll be there. You can't stop the cloud. There's no slowing down. When I call for you, you're out of time. You can't stop it now. We're running out of time. When he calls, you can't refuse. Ticking down. Tick tock. It's been a long time since I prayed. I feel you there, but I'm not scared. No, I'm not peeking out my window. No, I know there's nowhere to go, but I will not run, 'cause I'm waiting for no one. You can't stop the cloud. There's no slowing down. When the call for you, you're out of time. No, when you're time, you can't stop it now. Time has come. We're running out of time. When you call, you can't refuse. Ticking down. Ticking down. going down. When the call for you, you're out of time. No one knows the time. You can't stop. No one knows the minute. We're running out of time. No one knows the second. It's down. We're running out of time. We're running out of time. We're running out of time. No one knows. No, there's time. The time waits for no one.
And welcome back to the Let's Talk Show on the Blog Talk Radio Network. My name is Maurice Herron, and I am your host for a Tuesday evening, November the 22nd, 2011. If you are on the air listening to us via phone, if you have any comments, you can press 1 on your phone now at this time. For those of you all who are in the chat room, you can go ahead and just go ahead and relay your message, and we will go ahead and give that to our panel guests and let them know what you're saying if you're in the chat room. It has been an interesting past 30 minutes listening to what we have learned about the origin of idolatry. And I want to go ahead and read the scripture because we do not necessarily read the scriptures that much. You know, we'll hear the philosophies of men whenever we go to a church service or a crusade type thing. Let me see if I've got any callers that are pressing 1, and I don't see that particular number, that 1 on there. Hello, I got your mic on. You're on the air. Do you have any questions or comments? Okay. You are on the air if you have any questions or comments. All right. I'm going to go ahead and leave the mics open just in case someone wants to go ahead and say something. I'd like to remind you all, those of you who are listening via phone, and if you would like to make a comment or a question, go ahead. You can press 1 on your phone at any time. Let me go back and read out of the commandments, and let's kind of dissect a couple of them that is based on our lesson that we did tonight. This goes to Exodus chapter 20. And for those of you all who are new, Elder Ricashia, who gave us permission to play these tapes, by the way, for those of you all who are joining us for the very first time, he spoke out of 3 books. Now, these 3 books, you know, we've got the King James Version Bible. Hopefully you have the King James Version Bible. And we're going to have a study on that in the near future about who is King James, what is his historical origin, what is his nationality, so to speak. Also, why is it that we have all these other definitions of Bible, the NIV, the Message Bible, the Amplified Bible, this and that and such? Can it kind of give us a clear picture of the King James, or does it dilute the true meaning of what the King James Version of the Bible has to say? And if you didn't know that King James was Hebrew, and if you don't know who are Hebrew people, that is the Negro blacks here in America, as well as Jamaica, in South America, and a remnant that is in West Africa. So we're talking about the 12 tribes of Israel, and we're also talking about the origin of idolatry. And so by now you should have Exodus chapter 20, and I hope I am clear. If I'm not clear, someone just tap me on my shoulder and say, you're breaking up, Maurice, you're breaking up. But if I'm all clear, I'm going to go ahead on and read. I am using a wireless laptop mic, and there could be some distortion in that. So just want to let you know that the Brothers of the Gathering of Christ have used the official King James Version Bible, and if they didn't have a 1611 Bible, they had a Apocrypha, which these books were taken out of the Bible through the Council of Nicaea, as well as Constantine himself and the Roman Catholic Church. So the Apocrypha book, which has the authorized King James Version Bible, and in those books that we're going to get into at a later date, but maybe not today, in those books that they took out, and the reason why they took these books out is because they were trying to hide the truth. So you got First Esdras, Second Esdras, Tobit, Judith, the rest of Esther. You've got also the Wisdom of Solomon, Ecclesiasticus, Baruch with the epistles of Jeremiah, the Song of the Three Holy Children, the History of Susanna, Baal and the Dragon, the Prayers of Manasseh, First Maccabees and Second Maccabees. Why did they take out these books that had some powerful information on them? And for those of you all who have been listening to us in the past, this particular book or this passage, let's say for instance, you know the King James Version, and in the New Testament it starts out with Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Imagine having the Bible in possession, and all of a sudden there is no more Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Well, that's what the new King James Version is all about compared to the 1611 edition book of the Bible. This is what you are missing, which is called the Apocrypha books. And in those books, and I'm going to abbreviate this real quick, in that book, it talks about who is the Holy Spirit. And it also talks about how did the Native Americans, which are the tribe of Gad, come from Israel, which they held the northern territory. We found out that in this book, the Apocrypha, we found out that the children of Israel, who are also the Native Americans, which we call the Indians here in America, left the northern territory of Israel all the way to the Americas, which we know as the United States. And they didn't get credit for that, but guess who supposed to have discovered them? Well, it is that particular Jew, as you know, that Elder Rakashiar said, is a Jewish person by the name of Christopher Columbus. He found out where this particular tribe was by reading the Apocrypha books in his own Bible. That is how he discovered the Americas, which was called something else, and I don't have it in front of me right now, but you can find it in the Apocrypha books. And also he talks about the Book of Enoch. The Book of Enoch is one of the oldest books in the Bible, which they canalized that and took it away. And you see, when we discussed this, we had some powerful information on that. So now, I kind of wanted to abbreviate that. Now let me go to Exodus chapter 20. And God spoke all these words, saying, I am thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Now, I want to stop there real quick, and I want to take you to Deuteronomy. It's going to tie in. I want to take you to Deuteronomy chapter 28, and I want you all, where is it? Look at verse 68. Well, let's go ahead and start before that so I won't be accused of taking scriptures out of content. Let's start at 67. In the morning thou shalt say, would God it were even, and at even thou shalt say, would God it were morning, for the fear of thy heart wherewith thou shalt fear, and for the sight of thy eyes which thou shalt see. Verse 68 of Deuteronomy chapter 28. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spoke unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondsmen and bondswomen, and no man shall buy you, or in other words, redeem you from this. Did any West African or South African people of color, when slavery was going on in the United States, come buy us from our masters? No. So this prophecy did come to pass, and you know it is great. I want you to pay special attention to verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again. So if we were in the house of bondage for the very first time and the Lord brought us out, so this prophecy said, he and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. So Egypt can be identified in verse 2 of Exodus chapter 2 is called house of bondage. So in the Western Hemisphere, where they had slavery, this is known as that particular Egypt, house of bondage. I wanted to just kind of give you some clarity on that. 347-205-9279 is our number. I have your mics open for anyone who wishes to make a comment or a question. You feel free at any time to go ahead and make those comments, as well as ask any questions that I may be able to ask on that. And continuing on, verse
Brother Maurice.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, how you doing, brother?
Hey, brother, I am doing great. I am just loving this episode that we started tonight. It's been all good, and it's been a blessing. My eyes are open. My spirit is open.
Well, I tell you what, the message you have tonight sure has been a blessing to me, and I hope it has been to all of the listeners out there. I wanted to make a comment about the 2 lessons, I guess. It was part 1 and part 2, right? The 2 lessons that you played earlier.
Right.
And who was that by again, brother?
That was by our friends at the Gathering of Christ, Elder Ricashia, along with Gloria. Those are my instructors on the Hebrew Bible Academy that they have started several months ago that I've entered, and I tell you, I've learned a lot. And knowledge is good. Knowledge is very, very good.
Yes, indeed, brother. Well, the 2 lessons that you played tonight have me really excited. I really want to go ahead and tell you to go ahead and play the next 2, but but I know we don't have time. We got to wait until next Tuesday. But just to let you know that the first 2 messages were very enlightening, and everything that Brother Ricashia had to say was right on point, and he used scripture to back up everything that he said, not just from the Holy Bible, but as you mentioned before, from the Apocrypha and the Book of Enoch as well. So, just very enlightening, and I can't wait for next Tuesday so we can listen to the next 2 lessons from the Church of God in Christ. Now, how many lessons are there for that complete series?
It's a total of 4, so we're halfway there. We did part 1 and 2, and
Yeah.
part 3 and 4 is going to come up on next Tuesday.
Okay, so next Tuesday we'll get a chance to listen to the second half, huh? And get all the knowledge from it.
Right, right. Tomorrow night, if those of you all who are joining us are able to join us tomorrow night, we are going to talk about this pet peeve here. We're going to talk about Esau and Jacob, the two nations that were in Rebekah. We're going to go ahead and tackle that. If anyone that is are able to get with us, we're going to start. That's going to be an hour lesson, and that is going to be conducted by Israel Christ United. We're going to have a audio by them. They're going to bring out some good pointers there. If not by them, we're also, I know I've got the lesson on track with the Gathering of Christ as well, with Esau and Jacob. Or because there was no J in the Hebrew alphabet at that time, you can pronounce his Hebrew name as Yaakov.
Right. I heard the brothers talking about, I heard them mention Christopher Columbus, and I heard them mention George Washington, and one more person, Brother Malachi. Who was the third person that they mentioned? And they were kind of specifying that they were actual Jews. And not,
I can't recall, but you hit it on the nail right there. As far as those two particular two people, I'll probably have to review it and see if I can pick that up, and we'll talk about that next week as I can once I review it, and we'll let everybody know as well.
Now, isn't that amazing how everyone we're taught in our history books all through school that Christopher Columbus, first point, Christopher Columbus discovered America, and and that Christopher Columbus was of Spanish descent. And here it is now with this new knowledge that we have that Christopher Columbus was not of Spanish descent, but actually a Jew, so-called Jew. And first of all, and I kind of want you to comment on this too, Brother Malachi, but how can you discover something when there's already people in that country or in that land? So how can he be credited with the discovery of the land we call America now, when the native Indians had already occupied this country?
Well, most of you all may not know this, but I am the founder of the city of Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Hattiesburg, Mississippi was discovered by Maurice Herron 53 years ago. And when I discovered Hattiesburg, Mississippi, it was kind of a backwards type town. And so when I came on board, everything just changed. Now, if you believe that, I can sell you the Mississippi River. So that's exactly how strange Christopher Columbus is when he say he discovered something and it was already discovered by the native Indians, the native Americans who were already here, which is we know now today because they had to hide the truth of the tribe of Gad, which is the northern territory, because Israel split into two territories. They had northern Israel, and for those of you all who didn't know, we were in the southern part of Israel, was in the land called Judah, the tribe of Judah. And so, it behooves me, like Malcolm X said, how can you discover something that has already been discovered? Of course, we've all seen that fantastic movie portrayed by Denzel Washington when he came on board, because Malcolm X, if you all didn't know, his father was a minister in the Christian denomination. and he found Islam through the prison system through some friends and got on board with them. And you all know the history of how that, and we're also going to be talking about Islam and all these other religions around there, because they all get their roots from the Bible. They get it from our Hebrew Bible. And it's absolutely rich what we found to be the truth as we know it, and everybody else telling us all these lies. So it's absolutely amazing what the world as we know it is putting down. This is history and this is how it should be done on that.
You're exactly right, Brother Malachi. And who would have known that the so-called first president of this country, George Washington, was a so-called Jew as well. And
right.
That just goes back to show you, brother, how we have been deceived for so long. It hasn't just started. It's been going on since day one. You know,
Why don't you let
this whole country, and not just not just the United States, but the world. We live in a world of deception because Satan, being the ruler and the god of this world, Satan is the god of lies, and he is the father of deception. So we should not think it to be a strange thing when we find out truth and knowledge and find out that things aren't as they seem. We just got to wake up, Brother Malachi, and seek the truth.
Right.
And when we find the truth, brother, we have to do like what you're doing tonight. We have to let our brothers and sisters know of the truth. And it's their choice if they want to listen, take heed, and put it to work in their lives, or if they want to listen and not put it to work and continue to believe in the lies, or if they don't want to listen at all. But our job is to continue to spread the truth no matter what. And, the Bible speaks about our people being a stiff-necked people, and that is true. All throughout history, throughout time, reading the Bible, the Old Testament, instead of us wanting to follow our Father and in the truth, and follow Him in the way, we've always elected to choose go the other route and to choose the way of sin, and that's one of the reasons why we're in the state and the condition that we're in now. But I really don't want to talk much on that because that has been done. But right now we got to focus on what you're talking about, Brother Malachi, the uplifting of our people and the future of our people, because I believe, and I know you do too, that our time is now. And, especially going into the year 2012, you and I have talked about it many times. 2012 is going to be a great year for our Father's people, and that is us.
Absolutely. Why don't you tell them, while we got a minute or two, let's kind of let the cat out the bag about who was the first Hebrew president or African president of these United States, and it ain't Barack Obama.
Well, that's going to be, to our listeners out there, that's going to be a future lesson that Brother Malachi and myself, and along with Brother Rab, that we're going to teach on. I know it's hard to believe because of, again, all of the lies and all of the deception that we've received. But I will say this, I won't say any names, until we actually teach on this series. But the first president of the United States was not George Washington, and the first president of the United States was not a white man. It was not one of these so-called Jews. The first president of the United States was a black man, a black Hebrew. And Brother Maurice is right. Like I said, we really won't say much on that tonight, but it's going to be a series that we're going to teach in the near future. Probably a two-part series we're going to teach on in the near future to explain who exactly this man was and where he came from and why he was overlooked as far as being recognized as the first president of the United States, first black president of the United States.
Right, right. And for those of you all who are joining us for the very first time, that is my brother Gabriel, right here in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, and he is out of the Center for Knowledge, right here in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, the Genesis Movement. And to let you all know, if you want more information on the Genesis Movement right here in the greater Gulf area, starting in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, you can give us a call at 601-297-2927, or you can email us at menempoweredtoprosper@yahoo.com. And another phone number is 601-543-3828. And that's the Genesis Movement right here in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. And of course, you will be welcome to the beginning of knowledge and truth when you enter the Genesis Movement Knowledge Center here in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. With about 17 more minutes left, our guests have been listening to the origin of idolatry presented by the Gathering of Christ Church. As I was saying, in chapter 20 of Exodus, it goes into the commandments, and it says in verse 3, it says, "Thou shalt have no other gods before me." Verse 4, "Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water underneath." Now, that says a whole lot about that. Now, all my life, I have been bombarded with images on the TV, images of pictures in your home, images in books. All those books carry images. And when you pick up that, and like we've said on this program so many times, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Would you believe, and we're going to probably get into that next week on Tuesday, would you believe in the Apocrypha book documented prophecy says that these people were going to bring this European Christ, an image out of Europe, and will deceive the whole world. Now, because of that image, it had me to believe that the Christ, the Messiah, was a Caucasian person. Now, at that time, I had no problem with it, but if it's the truth, tell me the truth. Don't tell me a lie and expect me to believe that. That's why we got to come out of these heathen holidays that's going on. Now, I saw a cartoon put out by a friend of mine on Facebook, and I'm going to post that to my Facebook because it's a dynamite cartoon, because these images that we got our kids growing up with, they take that to heart, and it messes with your mind, and it grows on you. The picture I'm talking about is of Santa Claus. Now, this picture that my friend had, it has this little boy sitting on Santa's lap. And this little boy is telling Santa, where are you in the Bible? Now, Santa looks like looking at him and with this frown on his face, knowing that he is an absolute lie. But the little boy asked him a question and asked him, where are you in the Bible? Now, if we're going to go on and have our kids to believing in this man, as well as believing in this other holiday that we just got through having, Halloween, and we're not talking about all these holidays or holidays. My good friend Georgia Johnson is doing a very good job on that on her talk show, The Biblical Hebrews of the Bible. And you can look her up right here at Blog Talk Radio. But we have got to start reading the Bible, reading this book for ourselves. Let's not start taking anything for face value of what anyone says. Don't even take for granted what I'm saying. Now, we've given you some scriptures tonight from the Gathering of Christ. They gave you a laid out scripture. I gave you Exodus chapter 20. You should all know this by heart. It's the commandments that we have here. Also, let me let you jot this down, and I'm going to go ahead and spill the beans on this particular subject since we're dealing with idolatry and certain dates are coming up. Now, if you turn to Jeremiah chapter 10, starting with verse 1, I want to read verse 1 through verse 6 and see if you can identify this particular idol that we're not supposed to worship. All right. Now, Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 1 through 6. Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 1. Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. So if you are part of the house of Israel, which tribe, you should obey these words that the Most High have said to us. Thus said the Lord, learn not the ways of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. Let me read that again, verse 1, starting with verse 1, so you can get a clear understanding. We're in Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 1. Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus said the Lord, or you can say the Most High if you're looking in the King James Version. Learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. Verse 3, for the custom of the people are vain, for one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands, here we go, the work of the hands of the workman with an axe. They deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it move not. They are upright as the palm tree, but speak not. They must need be born, because they cannot go. Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil, neither also is it in them to do good. For as much, verse 6, for as much as there is none like unto thee, O Lord, thou art great, and thy name is great and mighty. Now, can anybody tell me what is that thing that they're bringing in that is covered with silver and gold? They cut it out of the forest, and they put it in a house. They nailed it with hammer, nails, and wood to keep it upright like a palm tree. Can anyone tell me what is this thing? Brother Gabriel, are you there, sir?
I'm here, Brother Malachi.
Can you describe to our audience what is this thing that the Most High saying that we're not supposed to be like the heathen do, but we are the house of Israel?
Brother, sounds like to me like you're describing a Christmas tree.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And this is kind of getting off point, but it is an idol.
Well, no, brother, you're right on point, brother, because that's that holiday is celebrated all over the world, and it's coming up next month, December the 25th. So I think you're right on point with it, Brother Malachi. Go ahead, brother.
Praise the Most High. And those of you all who are listening, if this sounds kind of far-fetched to you, you can go ahead and get your Bible and read it. Don't take my word for it. You go back and do the research on this as well, and you will see what Jeremiah is saying in that book. Jeremiah 10, verses 1 through 6. And it talks about this graven image. The other great image that is in most all black churches in America these days is a picture of the Messiah, so-called Messiah. There's a picture of a white person. Ain't nothing wrong with that, but it violates the commandments that our Father given us. Not only did they change up most of the New Testament with the names in the New Testament, but they interject words in here like Lord, God. We call our Father the Most High. Ahiam is his name, and Yeshua is his son's name. And that's another subject in its entirety, because we're going to do the research on that and show you where we got all this from. By the way, it would behoove every one of you to invest in a Strong's Concordance, because you want to know what is the original Hebrew word used to identify everything that is in the English. The King James is a Hebrew man, and a Hebrew is a black man. So I just wanted you all to know this is not a racist topic. It's just historical facts, y'all. We're not trying to paint anything that's right to be black. We're telling the truth. We want you all to know what's the truth, and let's just stop all the lies. We're not politicians here. The politicians will play off on each other and just tell lie after lie after lie. Want to know who is this, who is that, what they're going to do, and what you did. It's just mess. And our Father, the Most High, is not the author of the confusion. So where you see the Most High in the midst of that, the author of confusion, Satan himself. And if you are in a house and there's a lot of confusion in it, then you know you are in an assembly full of satanic people. That's right, I said satanic people, because the Most High is not the author of confusion. So if there's any kind of confusion in that house that you call a church, then that must be a satanic house of worship, because our Father is not the author of confusion. I got so much to say with only 5 minutes left on that. So we just basically kind of touched the surface of the origin of idolatry and how did it start, where did it came from by the gathering of Christ. Any final comments from anyone? Go ahead and sign off for tonight. I want to let you all know for more information on our organization, you can always hit us up here at Blog Talk Radio or at our email is empowered2prosper@yahoo.com, or you can just give us a call at those numbers that are on the website for more information on that. Be on the lookout for another seminar put on by the Genesis movement here in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. If you live on the coast of Mississippi, as well as New Orleans, Louisiana, as well as Mobile, Alabama, or Jackson, Mississippi, wherever you are, you're not too far to come to the Genesis movement that is growing here in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Brother Gabriel, do you have any comments?
Yeah, I'd just like to give a shout out to our brother, Brother Rab Baruch Ben Israel, who has been out of pocket here for a little while, taking care of business, and he'll be back here shortly to join us with the broadcast for a little while, and just peace and blessings to him and his family and loved ones. And, brother, we can't wait to have you back with us.
Amen. That's great. Well, I want to thank the Gathering of Christ Church for allowing me to play these excerpts from their library. I want to thank them for the knowledge that they have given me these past 3 months in their academy classes. And for those of you all know, I put a lot of videos, a lot of audios out on my Facebook page, letting you all know the word. That's a seed that has been planted. It is there for you to do the research yourself, to know the Most High, and to understand where we are in current events. Until next time, I'm also going to be here tomorrow night, and I believe we are going to talk about Jacob or Yaakov and Esau. We're going to go into that, and join us again next Tuesday. We're going to finish up part 3 and 4 of The Origin of Idolatry, brought to you by the Gathering of Christ Church. Shalom, everybody.
Shalom.